Many good sayings are to be found in holy books, but merely reading them will not make one religious. Ramakrishna. When the divine vision is attained, all appear equal, and there remains no distinction of good and bad, or of high and low. Unless one always speaks the truth, one cannot find God, who is the soul of truth. Longing is like the rosy dawn. After the dawn out comes the sun. Longing is followed by the vision of God. Ramakrishna. Disease is the tax which the soul pays for the body, as the tenant pays house rent for the use of the house. A man is truly free, even here in this embodied state, if he knows that God is the true agent and he by himself is powerless to do anything. If you desire to be pure, have firm faith, and slowly go on with your devotional practices without wasting your energy in useless scriptural discussions and arguments. Your little brain will otherwise be muddled. Ramakrishna. Travel in all the four quarters of the earth, yet you will find nothing anywhere. Whatever there is only here. The physicians of one class feel the patients and go away, merely prescribing medicine. As they leave the room they simply ask the patient to take the medicine. They are the poorest class of physicians. Ramakrishna. As a lamp does not burn without oil, so a man cannot live without God. When the flower blooms, the bees come uninvited. As the water of the ocean is now calm and next agitated into waves, so are Braham and Maya. The ocean in the tranquil state is Braham, and in the turbulent state, Maya. The man who works for others, without any selfish motive, really does good to himself. Women and gold keep men immersed in worldliness. The woman is disarmed when you view her as the manifestation of the Divine Mother. Never get into your head that your faith alone is true and every other is false. Know for certain that God without form is real and that God with form is also real. Then hold fast to whichever faith appeals to you. The snake itself is not affected by the poison in its fangs, but when it bites, the poison kills the creature bitten. Likewise, Maya is in the Lord but does not affect him, while the same Maya deludes the whole world. Knowingly or unknowingly, consciously or unconsciously, in whatever state we utter his name, we acquire the merit of such utterance. A man who voluntarily goes into a river and bathes therein gets the benefit of the bath, so does likewise he who has been pushed into the river by another, or who while sleeping soundly has water thrown upon him by another. Snakes are venomous reptiles. But the man who has learned the art of snake charming can play even with 7 snakes coiled around his snake. Similarly, a man of realization is immune to the dangers of worldly life. Quotes by Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa Deva. Knowledge leads to unity, but ignorance to diversity. Lovers of God do not belong to any caste. Never get into your head that your faith alone is true and every other is false. Know for certain that God without form is real and that God with form is also real. When the flower blooms, the bees come uninvited. Ramakrishna. God is in all men, but all men are not in God, that is why we suffer. Work, apart from devotion or love of God, is helpless and cannot stand alone. If you want to go east, don't go west. To work without attachment is to work without the expectation of reward or fear of any punishment in this world or the next. Work so done is a means to the end, and God is the end. The fabled musk deer searches the world over for the source of the scent which comes from itself. If you must be mad, be it not for the things of the world. Be mad with the love of God. God is everywhere but he is most manifest in man. So serve man as God. That is as good as worshipping God. Ramakrishna. Through selfless work, love of God grows in the heart. Then through his grace one realize him in course of time. God can be seen. One can talk to him as I am talking to you. It is easy to talk on religion, but difficult to practice it. God can be realized through all paths. All religions are true. The important thing is to reach the roof. You can reach it by stone stairs or by wooden stairs or by bamboo steps or by rope. You can also climb up by a bamboo pole. Many are the names of God and infinite the forms through which he may be approached. Ramakrishna. If you first fortify yourself with the true knowledge of the universal self, and then live in the midst of wealth and worldliness, surely they will in no way affect you. Bondage is of the mind, freedom too is of the mind. If you say I am a free soul, I am a son of God who can bind me free, you shall be. One must be very particular about telling the truth. Through truth one can realize God. Ramakrishna. Unalloyed love of God is the essential thing. All else is unreal. Through love one acquires renunciation and discrimination naturally. Ramakrishna. When one has love for God, one doesn't feel any physical attraction to wife, children, relatives and friends. One retains only compassion for them. Pray to God that your attachment to such transitory things as wealth, name, and creature comforts may become less and less every day. Ramakrishna. More are the names of God, and infinite are the forms through which he may be approached. In whatever name and form you worship him, through them you will realize him. The world is indeed a mixture of truth and make-believe. Discard the make-believe and take the truth. All religions are true and God can be reached by different religions. Many rivers flow in many ways, but they fall into the sea. They all are one. Hanuman was blessed with the vision of God both with form and without it. But he retained the ego of the servant of a god. Such was also the case of Narada, Sanaka, Sanandana, and Sanat Kumara. One must be very particular about telling the truth. Through truth one can realize God. The supreme purpose and goal for human life is to cultivate love. To explain God merely after reading the scriptures is explaining to a person the city of Benares after seeing it only on a map. Sugar and sand may be mixed together, but the ant rejects the sand and goes off with the sugar grain, so pious men lift the good from the bad. As a toy fruit or a toy elephant reminds one of the real fruit and the living animal, so do the images that are worshipped remind one of the God who is formless and eternal. Iron appears as red hot in the furnace but becomes black soon after it is taken out. In the same way, worldly men are full of religious emotion if they are in a temple or in the society of the pious, but no sooner do they leave these associations the flood of devotion in them subsides. When a certain quantity of milk is mixed with double the quantity of water, it requires a good deal of time and labor to condense it. The mind of a worldly man is diluted with the filthy water of impure thoughts, and he has to work long and hard to purify it. You see many stars in the sky at night, but not when the sun rises. Can you, therefore, say that there are no stars in the heavens during the day? Oh man! Because you cannot find God in the days of your ignorance, say not that there is no God. Lovers of God do not belong to any caste. Butter churned early in the morning is the best, that churned after sunrise is not so good. Addressing his young disciples, Master used to say, "You are like butter churned in the early morning, my householder disciples are like butter churned late in the day." Sunlight is one and the same wherever it falls, but only a bright surface like that of water, or of a mirror reflects it fully. So is the light divine. It falls equally and impartially on all hearts, but the pure and pious hearts of holy men receive and reflect that light well. The man whose hair stands on end at the mere mention of the name of God, and from whose eyes flow tears of love life has indeed reached his last birth. Common men talk bagfuls of religion but do not practice even a grain of it. The wise man speaks a little even though his whole life is religion expressed in action. When you are engaged in devotional practices, keep aloof from those who scoff at them, and from those who ridicule the piety and the pious.